Hey, I'm feeling great. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite animes. And today I'm going to be finally doing an anime review on Vinland Saga Season 1. So, yeah, I just spent the last entire month watching one anime, and that is Vinland Saga Season 1. I spent about the first, aside from the last couple of days, in the entirety of April, I watched 11 episodes, and then in the last 2 days, including today, I binge watched the rest of the whole freaking anime, all 13 episodes, and all in total 24 episodes. So, Vinland Saga is a manga written and illustrated by Yukimura Makoto, and it is adapted into an anime by Wit Studio in 2019. So, Vinland Saga has been on my watch list for quite some time now. People are putting this manga and this anime up in the ranks, and I've been curious as to what this anime is about. But the thing is, I've never really had the initiative to watch this anime because I was never a big fan of Viking stories. I thought that out of all the types of history dramas that there are in the world, the most boring would probably be Viking stories because it's just a bunch of Nordic people slashing people around with axes and swords. Pillaging villages, and that's it. Kind of boring, I know. But given that Vinland Saga is getting a season 2, I thought I might as well check Vinland Saga season 1 out. And damn, this is good. And it's not a huge surprise to me that a Viking story could be good. I mean, last year I really enjoyed The Northman by Robert Eggers, which I thought is one of the best films from last year. Also, for some reason, nobody watched this movie, but I really like it. So, Vinland Saga is kind of like The Northman, the anime, except A, it came before The Northman. B, it basically takes the same kind of plot but expanded and extended into such a huge freaking scale with actual gigantic world building, which is something that I really, really love. First of all, let's talk about the OPs and the EDs. The OPs and EDs, all four of them in total, are kind of mid, unfortunately. The OPs are a little too electronic for a show about Vikings. And the second OP is kind of a mess. It starts off with these really nice medieval instrumentals, and then it turns into this passionate rock song, which again, it just tonally it does not match the story, and it's just too overly dramatic. And I can pretty much say the same for the EDs. Not a huge fan. Animation wise, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty standard Wit Studio goodness, a la Attack on Titan up until season 3. And I also think the music is pretty great. It's not that great or anything, but for what it is, I think it really works out. So let's get into the plot of this anime. We are introduced to a family of four. We have Thorfinn, our main character, his father Thors, his mom Helga, and his older sister Ilva. Now, Thors and Thorfinn and a few others went out to the ocean and left their nice little island. Because they're preparing for war. And this is where the entire story actually kicks off. Now, whatever happens next is kind of a spoiler, but it's basically what kicks off the story, so I guess it's not exactly a spoiler, but mind you, it's a minor spoiler. But Thors get killed. So Thors get killed, and his son Thorfinn wanted to avenge his father's death by killing Thor's killer, Askeladd. So this is the actual story, and for the rest of the entire season 1, Thorfinn would be on a revenge rampage to Askeladd. You're trying to kill Askeladd in a proper duel. And yet he follows Askeladd, and because he's not strong enough, after all, he's just a kid, he decides to wait and train himself until he's older and stronger, and then he's gonna kill Askeladd in a proper duel, may I remind you. So that's basically the plot. And while that's really simple, that's basically the tip of the iceberg of what actually is going on in Vinland Saga. Because as we follow Thorfinn, as we follow Askeladd, as we follow these other characters like Thorkel and Prince Canute, we start to realize what actually is going on. About halfway through the anime, we are actually introduced to the real premise, the real juicy premise of the story. And sure, an avenging your father's death revenge tale could be really emotionally driven, but what keeps this anime away from being just another standard Viking story is that it's basically elevated to the same level of ambition and scale as Game of Thrones. Because this anime is actually a lot more political than you would think. It's actually about Prince Canute and Prince Harold both being the rightful heir to the throne to the Danish king. Except the Danish king, whose name is, I actually forgot, King Svein. King Svein actually likes Harold more than Canute, so he sent Canute out to the battlefield to kill him off indirectly. And Canute realized that and decided to sort of do some action himself. But that also requires a lot of courage and character development because Prince Canute is actually a shy, scared, very feminine man who has no experience on the battlefield at all, but instead has experience cooking, which is really interesting. I really like an anime and a story in general that tackles themes of what is masculinity, what makes a rightful leader. Do you have to be a masculine man, a macho man to be a leader, or can you be more on the thinking side? But either way, the characters of this anime is absolutely fantastic. Thorfinn works as a protagonist, but really my two favorite characters is Askeladd and Prince Canute. Askeladd is the antagonist. We all hate him right off the bat after he killed Thor's, but as we learn about him more, his backstory, the way he treats Thorfinn, the way he treats others, he is a fantastic leader. He is a great thinker. He's a man of layers. He's a man of subtlety. And he slowly became one of the most interesting characters of the show. Another one of the most interesting characters, if not the most, is actually Prince Canute himself. Because again, he started off being a really shy, scaredy, cowardly person. But as he begins to witness these deaths around him, he began to change. And one scene, perhaps my favorite scene of the entire season 1, was when the priest character Willibald or Willibald asked Prince Canute, "What is love?" Or I think Prince Canute asked him, "What is love?" And the priest at this point has also seen some shit and is starting to question his faith and allegiance towards God, towards Christ, towards Christianity. And his ultimate conclusion is that a dead man is love. Because every living thing is not with love. But a dead man does not steal, a dead man does not cheat, a dead man does not kill. A dead man is the embodiment of love. And after that, Prince Canute sort of has this insane spiritual enlightenment where he realizes that the world is made of lovely things, made of love, but men, human beings, are so devoid of love. And he decided to reject Jesus Christ, he decided to reject God, and essentially think that, you know what, instead of relying on God, let me be the one who fixed this mess. And that is probably my favorite scene of the entire anime. You get these montages, you get this half-eaten apple and these reflections and these scenes of living things like trees and rabbits, and it's so emotionally compelling. It's amazing. And I just also love how this story perpetuates a lot of stupid stereotypes about Vikings, like eyeliners and horn helmets and whatever. And the way the show treats themes like war, religion, and politics are all very mature and subtle. And I really like that the show shows a deep understanding of Nordic geopolitics in the early 11th century. I was never interested in that part of history at all. As much of a history nerd I am, like that Viking history, kind of boring, but actually no. And this show convinced me that it's not boring at all. There's a lot of um, history and lore to everything. The Celts arrived in the Britons, the in Britain, in Great Britain, in Britain, and then the Romans conquered them, and then the Anglo Saxons, and then now the Danes are fighting back, and it's just basically the story is in a situation where the Danes and the English are fighting each other, and the Danes are, of course, the Vikings. But really, if anything, the real story at hand is the Danes fighting against each other. Because again, we have Prince Canute and Prince Harold fighting against each other as the rightful heir to the throne. And again, the themes of war and religion is dealt with really, really maturely. One episode that pretty much adds nothing to the overall story, but an episode that I really love would be an episode where Thorfinn found a village and bonded with sort of this mother figure, and this mother figure took care of him and treated him nice. But he's there to essentially fire a signal to signal his fellow Vikings to burn down the village. And when the village is burning down, he is filled with guilt, but then he is forced to move on. And that is another really thought provoking moment for me in the whole show that I just really, really love. And there's also the concept of Vinland, a land far away in the west where there are no slaves, where there is no war. And it's just this beautiful paradise type of land that Thorfinn really yearns for. And the more he sees war and the more he sees terror and horror, the more he wants to go to this Vinland, yet at the same time, he's contradicting himself because he wants revenge. He's bloodthirsty. So yeah, very interesting, very thought-provoking, and it's awesome that all this entire season 1 is basically one gigantic prologue, and I look forward to season 2 very much. I'm giving the new Vinland Saga, or not new, but like Vinland Saga season 1, a light 9 out of 10. So have you watched Vinland Saga? Comments below, let me know, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.